Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, January 13th, 2025. And we had some ugly weather this past week, and we've recovered from it somewhat. But I know there's more bad weather coming. But I've had enough. I really have. We had an issue, I think it was Friday, if I can get my math right. I think it was Friday, uh, 5 o'clock in the evening or afternoon, I should say. I just heated up some leftovers, some good, hearty food my wife had made, and as soon as the microwave finished running its cycle, we lost power. So we were without power from 5 o'clock on Friday. I guess it was Friday night until 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Now, in most cases, that's not a big deal. Here in Georgia, that's actually a pretty big deal because, for one, we don't get a lot of cold weather. We just don't, we just don't. And by the time we have an issue, we're usually kind of in trouble. That's just the truth of it. Most of us have some basic stuff to provide for ourselves, but neighbors may not, and other people around may not. And what's really weird about our street in particular is half of us, or maybe a little more than half of us, are on the power EMC power company. So like the opposite side of the street from us has EMC, and our side of the street, a small segment of us have Georgia Power, which has always been good. We haven't had any issues, but sometimes we lose power. Sometimes it's EMC people that lose power. Sometimes it's us. So we were without power not quite 24 hours. Now, I do have a backup system. I have a battery system. I think I showed it on my Joe Daddy's Workshop channel. I pronounced it as Blue Eddy, but apparently it's Blue Tea, I think is what they call it. And it's a battery pack and like an inverter, and it has enough energy to run your refrigerator for like 3 or 4 days. You can run your lights off of it. You can, take care of some certain things like that. So essentially, I bought that for this purpose. I also have a gas generator that I'd rather not use. They're loud. They eat a lot of gas, and I look at that as more emergency situation than the other one, which is just a battery. So we use that battery system. We also have a kerosene heater. So thankfully I had fuel, filled that thing up, parked it in our living area and living room and kitchen area, and we were fine. We just didn't have any power, didn't have any water, but we were fine overall. And it lasted again for about, not quite 24 hours. And the power company actually came down our street, and they came to our house, and I went outside to talk to them, and they said, "Hey, was there a power, truck out here or anything?" I said, "There hasn't been anybody out here." And he was like, "Well, we got a call that they needed help or something at this address." I said, "Well, we haven't seen anybody." So they ended up doing some checking, and they found that at the end of our street there was apparently a limb had fallen and hit the line or something, and then there was a fuse had blown. So they reset everything, and we had power. So, we all take it for granted, and it's I don't know, it's a convenience that many of us don't ever want to be without, but a lot of us take it for granted, and I know we do. We sit here and we have a light on in front of me. I've got the laptop running. I've got all kinds of stuff going on. I've got the AC or the heater running, Mr. Cool up there running, keeping things warm in here. But when it's gone, we struggle with that, and there's a great deal that we have to rely on from that side of things. So let's just hope nothing like that happens for a long time when we're all good to go. And I also know that there's bigger tragedies out there. Granted, we have the fires that happened in California that are still going on. We can look at that and say, well, there's a lot of mismanagement going on. There's this and that and the other. But the reality is people are losing properties and homes and all sorts of things. Much like the people in Maui for whatever reason, all those fires that started, and then of course the people in Tennessee and Nashville, North Carolina, all that area as well. And it's just it's unfortunate for all of us that is happening to any of us, because it shows the weaknesses in our systems, I guess, in a way. So we know that the people in North Carolina have been pretty much taking care of themselves, and the people in Hawaii are pretty much kind of taking care of themselves. But you know, the ongoing fires and everything else out in California, and the fact that there are people out there intentionally starting fires, makes it even worse. And it's just become crazy land out there. So I don't want to see anybody lose their property or lose their life or any livelihood or any of that stuff. I don't want to see it happen to anybody. So it is very unfortunate. But anyway, let's get on and start with the show tonight. Now, if you're new to my live stream, I try to talk about cars as much as I can. And generally, I talk about classic cars ranging from 55 to about 1979, 80, 81, somewhere in that range. We are open to discussion. If you have a question that you'd like to bring up, or something you want to get out there, some information or anything that may lead to a conversation that can help other people, I'm all for it. So by all means, bring it up and let's talk about it. Otherwise, we'll talk about whatever comes to mind, pretty much. I kind of shoot from the hip in most cases, and I seem to do pretty well with that. So let's see who's first one in tonight. And it is Ed Cucciarella. Hello from smoky Southern California. Fires are still burning. We are good, but so many are being affected. Yes. I'm glad to hear you're okay, Ed. Scary thing. You know, fire is probably, I would say it's probably my biggest fear of something that's out of your control. Like, almost like, you know, freezing to death almost sounds better than burning to death in my mind. At least freezing to death, you kind of just eventually fall asleep and you're gone. But fire, no, I don't want to be part of that. That's just scary. Of course, my son, my youngest son, is a firefighter, so I'm always concerned with stuff he's dealing with, and you know what he has to go into as well. So all these firefighters and everybody else that are extending themselves and trying to do the best they can with the limited resources, definitely is something we all need to applaud them for. So, bell to all the first responders. How about that? Rick Gain, bring on spring. I too have had enough winter. Yes, Rick. More than enough. Yeah. Also, hope all of those in California are okay. Yes, let's hope so. Dave Tyson checking in. Good evening, all. Good evening, Dave. First Dave sighting. Travis is checking in, my number one patron. Evening, all. I hope everyone is staying warm. Too cold here in Utah on the weekends for me, so no work in the garage is being done. Yeah, that's a challenge. I understand that. You know, when we have ice and snow here, I can at least come out in the garage, kick on the Mr. Cool unit, and get some heat out here. So there's always something for me to do anyway. But I'm thankful that I have that system, so I can be out here and do stuff. Rick Stevenson, good evening, everyone. 49 degrees here in Jacksonville. Welcome, Rick. Yeah, I was just checking earlier. We had some good temps today. I mean, thankfully we've melted off some of the snow, and we've got a lot of water and mud, you know, now. Currently we're at 42 degrees. Tomorrow it's going to hit 54. And then, unfortunately, it looks like Monday and Tuesday of next week, it's going to be in the teens, probably overnight. And that's not good. That's not a comfortable temperature at all. Not interested in being that cold. Travis, my thoughts go out to Californians. Yes. David, the bowler hat guy. Good evening, Barry. Hello, all. Had a little sunshine and warmth here today. Well, that's a positive. Glad to hear that. Lout. That's a different name. Lout Burns. Hey, team. Hi, Rick. 19 here in the Catskills Mountains of New York. My shop was 20 degrees Fahrenheit today when I went in. Yeah, that's pretty cold. Not a fan. You know what's, and I'll just relate this because I'm trying to. I was trying to take care of some things today. So cold weather, all these different things. The sun came out, and one of the problems I had was I had driven my little Honda Fit. Y'all know that I have that little Honda Fit, and I had driven that car for one to go get more kerosene, and for two, I think I went to pick up some Waffle House for me and my wife on Saturday. And that car only sits about that far off the ground, so any kind of snow or ice or anything like that tears it up, knocks all kinds of plastic loose underneath. I didn't care. I said I'll fix it later. So I ended up today putting it up on ramps and putting new push pins in and getting all the plastic up in place. And the other thing I did, again, was because temperatures are good, I changed the oil in my air compressor. Long overdue. I thought, while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and get this done. So I took care of that. And then I started thinking about the next video that I'm trying to do. And, you know, of course, I've got what's left of that 68 Mustang sitting behind me. And I need to get the boat jig, the trailer jig, out of basically my backyard. Well, we have mud and snow, and it's just a mess. And I know that I couldn't get my truck back there to get it out. So earlier, I have one of those little hand dollies that you can hook to a trailer and kind of push it, or, you know, pull it around. I hooked it onto the tow dolly that I have. You know, I have a two-wheel tow dolly, and I was pulling it away from the backyard, not thinking, just being me, and I got to pull this and get this out of the way, and all of a sudden, whoosh, my feet went out from under me, and I planted on the, thankfully, snow and somewhat soft earth. But I was thinking about this earlier because I was watching, you watch football games over the weekend, right? You see these young guys, healthy, strong young guys, hitting each other, knocking each other down. I mean, and a lot of guys do get hurt, but they get up after some tremendous hits. And here I am, hit the ground, and I was kind of like, I didn't see any stars, thankfully, but I was like, now I'm like, oh, now I feel it. My neck hurts, my back hurts. So it's good to be able to do these sort of things, but you know, maybe I should just not have. I should have just paid more attention to the cooler temperatures and said, you know what, I can do this later. But I ended up, and this will be in the next Mustang video. I got my little wheel horse tractor out, and I took it in the backyard, and I hooked it to the boat trailer, and I pulled it all the way out. It pulled, that little tractor did its job. So I'm like, cool. So I'm not sure if we're going to get, how far I'm going to get into that next video this week, simply because of the weather conditions and everything. I do have another video actually already loaded, but it's a maintenance video. It's for another type of vehicle. I'm trying to get more, you know, ready for the next video on this build, but we'll see what happens. But at least I got the trailer out of the backyard now, so we're going to continue on with the project. Black GTX, good evening, everyone. That's Mark. Yeah, Mark. Mark here, checking in from Minnesota. It was -4 this morning. Forecast is calling for -12 tomorrow morning. You can have all of that. You can have my share and take it home with you. I have no interest in that. Man, glad you're here. I don't want anything to do with negative temperatures at all. Terry Keithley, good cold evening all, and Barry. Please hit the thumbs up and like for Barry. Thank you kindly, Terry and Betty and the cats. Thank you, Terry. Glad you're here. Mark says, good thing my garage is heated. Yes. And he says, while we're waiting, what are you all working on? Yeah. Well, everybody knows what I'm working on, so let's see what everybody else has to say. Well, wait a minute. Okay, Jerry says, howdy, Barry, howdy y'all. It's been chilly here in Texas, and I don't like it one bit. I hope everyone has a good evening of Car Talk. Go Buckeyes. Glad you're here, Jerry. Simone checking in. Hi, Barry and chat from a rather mild UK. That's always a bonus. Troy Justit, good evening from coastal Georgia, where it's a balmy 45 degrees, all ready for wine and wisdom from Barry. Well, I can't help you with probably the wine, and I'm not sure about the wisdom, but we'll see what we can do. Rusty's Mustang Garage, hello, all trying to get this back on my schedule. Yeah, you need to stay here. Need to stay here. And Robert checking in, evening all, just a little snow left from 5 to 6 inches. We got 74 on Friday. Well, that'll clear up anything that's left. So glad you're here. I'm going to bring up a question. Well, let's see. We got plenty of comments, so I'm going to wait on that question for just a minute. Richard Vogel, good evening, Barry. We almost made 40 degrees today, back to 30s tomorrow. Winter sucks. Yep. Yeah, I don't see us moving, but if I did, it would be further south, I think. Bob Shoemaker, good evening. All our snow is almost off, all melted off, but weekend looks like a threat for sure. Yeah. Steve Reed. Hello, Barry and everyone. Hope everyone's doing good, and thumbs up for Barry. Thank you, Steve. From Paducah, Kentucky, by the way. Simone says hi to Robert. Lout says Black GTX. I guess he's working on a 70 Boss 302 and a 69 Boss 429 and a 69 Dodge Charger. Well, that's you get 3 bells for that. All good choices. Yeah, like it. Don Maureen, happy winter. Well, happy winter to you, sir. Troy is commenting on a video to Robert. Robert posted a video about his composite hood that he had from, I believe, Dynacorn. And he's saying, Robert, sorry about the hood. You have convinced me to stay with the steel hood. Yeah. Yeah, there's always challenges out there. Of course, Robert says, hey, Simone. Dave Conville, good evening, all. Checking in from New Jersey. Del Marine says, must be global warming and got to have a Generac. Yeah, the generator. That would be nice. That would be nice. Mr. Mike says, good evening, everyone. Glad you're here. Rusty, hello all, and Barry, thumbs up from Southern Indiana. Hope all is well. I'm looking forward to your next Fangled video. Thumbs up. Thank you, sir. Delmarine is chuckling. Dave Tyson, move into the motorhome. Yeah, well, that was a possibility. That was a possibility. So, thankfully, we didn't have to do that. Mark is giving a thumbs up to Lout Burns. So, Jeff checking in from NorseNet. Hey, everyone. Hey, Jeff. Glad you're here. Harvey, Rally Cat Garage. Hello, Barry. Happy Monday from my garage to yours. Bring on the warm weather. I am done. Yes. No need to have any more cold weather. Mark says autocorrect. Yeah, gotcha. Jerry is checking in from the Money Pit. Good evening to all from Middle Tennessee. Glad you're here, Jerry. Hope you're making progress on your project. Simone says it certainly does get cold here. We have had from minus 3 degrees Celsius where I live to minus 20 degrees Celsius in Scotland. That's hard to say. It's hard to say. All Celsius, Scotland. It has been a long time since temperatures like this. Okay, well, that's, I guess, good, hopefully. 9 finger wrenching. Hello from Memphis. I like that. I don't know if that means you actually have 9 fingers or not. We occasionally do have the Blind Luck Mechanic on here, and he is blind. So maybe 9 finger wrenching means you're actually with 9 fingers. Denny Alvey, good evening from Paducah, Kentucky. Good evening, Denny. Steve Grimes checking in. Good evening from Pennsylvania. It's been a while. Welcome, Steve. Glad you're here. I know you're looking forward to getting back to the coast at some point soon. Dwight Douglas, hello from frozen tundra in Indiana. Well, thank you, Dwight. I don't know if I know your name's familiar. I'm almost feel like you haven't been here in a while. Esteban Jones, 61 degrees in Arizona, Burr. Working on carpet install on the 66 Mustang Coupe while also finishing all our sail panels on headliner. Multitasking, what could go wrong? Yeah. Wait, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, nothing could go wrong multitasking. Anthony Carver here in Missouri, Missouri's 7 days of the 10 above 40. Oh, I don't know. 7 of the 10 days above 40 degrees. That's probably pretty good. Pretty warm. But welcome, Anthony. Dumb Marine, since you are a veteran collision repair body mechanic welder, how do you take care of your hands doing the metal work like separating welds on the 68 coupe? Tough work. You know, that's a good conversation to have. And let me tell you, I've had issues with my hands for years. Okay, I had carpal tunnel in both of my hands. And I know there's people out there that go, "Oh, carpal tunnel is not a real thing." Let me tell you, it's a real thing. Okay, so I had to have surgery when I was 40. I had surgery on both hands. Had to get them both cut to relieve the carpal tunnel, and that was the best surgery I've ever had in my life. And I've had multiple surgeries, by the way. That was the best surgery. I had recovery almost instantaneously. So, whenever I talk about my videos and I'm doing a brake service or something like that, and I'm trying to take a bolt loose or whatever, I frequently tell people, put the wrench on and hit it with a mallet. You know, growing up, it was nothing for me and my brother just to bash your hand into a wrench. And I think we've all kind of done that. We're like, yeah, just hit it harder, it'll break loose. And we don't realize the impact that we put on ourselves and the damage that we do to our bodies. So use a mallet, break stuff loose. And of course, when I'm tightening, I never hit anything with my hands anymore, unless I'm maybe a little in a frustrated point of life. But even then, I'm cautious as to how I hit something. So in the conversation you brought up, I have these gloves here, which are like cut resistant gloves or something, max cut. And these have a little bit of rubberized material in them, okay? And I found that when I was driving the panel separator and getting vibrations through my hands, it would actually, in the end of the day, I would have tingling in my hands. Not nearly as bad as the carpal tunnel that I had previously, but it tingled. And I was like, I don't like this. So what I ended up doing, I took a pair of these mechanics glove, okay? Whoever makes these, I don't know, mechanics wear. And I put this on first in that left hand that I used, to hold the panel separator. And then I put this glove on top of it. Okay, pretty tight fit. Hello, everybody. So that helped a ton. Just having 2 layers of semi-rubberized material made a world of difference. It's still, you have to be cautious. I think I probably end up occasionally missing, and I'll hit my hand, hit my finger or thumb or something. But that's what I've been doing. That it has helped a lot. Now, they do make anti-vibration gloves. When I was working at Delta and I had the carpal tunnel issue, they had ordered me some sets. I don't know if I still have them or not, of anti-vibration gloves. And basically they were a leather glove that had like a rubber, like a padding, like a silica gel or a silicone liner in the palm area. I don't know what I ever did with them. I probably should get another pair of those and use them. But that's what I've been doing. I made my own kind of anti-vibration glove, and it seemed to help a lot. So that's the answer. Maybe not the answer you're looking for, but that's the answer you got. Wade checking in. Made it. Evening all from North Georgia. Glad you're here, Wade. And Wade may have a car for sale soon. He's got a couple of Mustangs. And he may be putting, I know he's talking about selling one or both of them, or 2 that may be available for sale soon. So both of them are 70 model Mach 1s. So we can talk about that at another time. Just letting you know, he may have those for sale in a condition they'll need work. Obviously, they're not going to be restored cars. These are cars that are going to need work and gone through whatever. So if anybody has any interest in a 70 Mach 1, you can email me if you want, and I can maybe get you in touch with Wade, and maybe we can, go through that process. But just letting you know. Glad you're here, Wade. Dave Tyson, he's working on 66 Mustang steering. There you go. And Wade says, taking some good advice. I spent the day bolting stuff on the Mach 1. Yeah. We talked about this car and the potential of it being for sale, and making sure that he has as many parts with the car that came with the car as can be. Simone, I've currently been working on my Rover. Had to replace O-rings to the intercooler that had blown. It was drinking diesel like crazy. That sounds like fun. Not really. Harvey, good to see a new video on your Mustang. Yes. Yeah. Well, I've been trying, and as I've said before, I think many of you realize I'm not one to really sit still very much. I need to be doing something, working on something, and I knew that I was running out of potential time to get the paint on the Cobra Jet. So that's why I said, you know what? I'll get started on this 68 and we'll see how it goes. Robert is saying, thanks to Harvey. Jack W., good evening. Good evening, Jack. How's the fastback coming? I don't know if I've seen any updates from you lately, but glad you're here. Dawn's Manufactory, hello from Wet PDX, a balmy 50 degrees. That's probably where my cutoff is anymore. I think 50 degrees is like, I don't want to do much when it's below 50. Glad you're here, Dawn. I hope the guitar, all the guitar work is paying off for you. Things looking really good. Really good. Michael Pagliarini, evening all. Evening, Michael. Glad you're here. I think he's up in New York, I think. Ronald Alcorn, hello from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Hello, Ronald. Glad you're here. That's a new name. Welcome. Simone, my hands take a beating. The skin on my fingers gets rough. If I get a tight bolt, I would use leg power if I can. If not, I use a big bar. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't do much of anything anymore without some sort of glove on. I just don't. Especially if I'm doing like anything with liquids, oil, grease, whatever. No, I'm going to have gloves on. Many times if I'm even, whatever I'm doing out here, I want to have protection on, because there's the potential when you start cutting stuff loose and you might turn your hand and run it right into a piece of metal, and now you got a big cut or something. I'm not even going to take the chance. Just wear the glove. Ronald says, sorry, cold finger's not working. That's okay. Simone, I really don't like the cold. No. Richard, are people good at driving in the snow in Georgia? Nope. Nope. Well, the problem we normally have, okay, we know the bad weather's coming. Now, mind you, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I don't have any issue getting behind the wheel of a car in the snow and just driving it. I don't have any issue with that. But because the turnover of bad weather, when we have, like, I don't know if you asked me previously when we had snow last, or when we had, cold conditions like this. I actually looked at my gas-powered generator, because the last time that I ran it, I cleaned it out. I put non-ethanol fuel in it with Sta-Bil. Now, what I had tried to do for myself, and I think we all need to do more of this, whenever I go, when I'm doing something anymore, like the air compressor, I just changed the oil on it. So I put a piece of tape on it, put the date when it was changed. I did that with a generator, and the date on that was October 10th of 2017 is when I put it away. So it's been at least 7 years since we've had any kind of seriously bad weather. Now, because of that, the people that drive here, they don't get the experience of it. They just don't understand it. And for the most part, we get cold weather, we'll get snow, and then the next day or so it might rain and then freeze. The problem is we don't have like regular snow. Like I said, growing up in Pennsylvania, we would have snow all over the roads. You would just drive on it because it was just snow. But when you start adding in freezing temperatures and ice and all that stuff, it doesn't matter how good a driver you are, because you could easily end up in the ditch. And that's basically what happens around here, is people will be comfortable to a point driving in the snow, and then all of a sudden they hit an icy spot or they hit a bridge that's frozen, and they lose control because they don't realize it. So it's just the nature of the beast. We don't get enough of it for people to learn how to manage themselves in it. So, but good question. Rick Stevenson, my cutoff is closer to 80 degrees. Well, I don't know. I'm comfortable closer to, ideally 65 to 75 is probably my real window. And I forgot to get my sip of coffee earlier whenever you checked in. Yeah, 65 to 75 would be ideal for me. Travis, do you have full dynacorn sides for Fangle? Do you plan on measuring them to see if there are differences like there is on Slither? I will as much as I can. Yes, I do have full sides. And I've already taken measurements from what was left of this car. And I have basically two other 68s that I can measure from. So I make sure everything's right. And of course, whenever I build something, I pre-assemble it and double check everything before I do any welding anyway. But I know you're referring to the left-hand side of the 69 and how dynacorn has somehow gotten that off. I don't think that should be or would be. It's potentially a problem, but I don't think it's going to be the same problem because they're going to be built on different jigs because the bodies are different. So we'll find out though, but I will go through as much of that as I can. Like I did with the Cobra Jet Slither, because I salvaged the rocker panels from the original car. When I removed the dynacorn rocker panels from the side structure, I weld in bracing so I don't lose that depth or that length, or I'll double measure everything, but I don't lose that. I weld that together, remove the rocker panel, and then when I put it on the main car, the measurement should be the same, and I don't have to worry about it. And I just one of those things that I do, and probably most people will do anyways, add extra bracing in this case because I'm removing the rocker panel, or the dynacorn rocker panel. But anyway, that is a good question. Thank you, Travis. Mr. Mikey is talking about O'Keeffe's hand cream. Okay. I'll take your word for it. Del Moreno, I noticed you thanked your heater in your last video with 68 coupe. Funny. Yeah, I did. Well, what's really funny about that, if you were to go back through my videos and you look at the installation video. So I installed that, I don't know, 6 years ago, something like that. I don't remember exactly. I installed that thing, I put it up. My wife helped me run the plumbing. And I'll admit, I didn't follow the directions exactly, because when you hook up the lines, it says open this line first and then open this line. And I think I did it backwards. And I said, oh, well, we'll see what happens. So I put that thing up, and I had so many people commenting, that thing is junk. It's not going to last a year. It's a blah, blah, blah. All these things, these mini splits are a joke and blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you, it may not be a super duper heater or air conditioner, but it gets the job done. It does what I need. Like, it's running right now, Uh, the thermometer on the wall is reading 71, 72 degrees. I'm happy with that. So yeah, I kind of make the joke about it because other people in the past were like, "Oh, that thing will quit 6 months, won't last, blah blah blah." But I'm very happy with that Mr. Cool mini split. In fact, I think uh, there's I don't know if it's on their main page, but Mr. Cool actually used one of my videos. I think when I talked about it a couple years later and said something like, I was jokingly saying, "You know what's wrong with my mini split?" And I come back and I said, "Absolutely nothing." And I think Mr. Cool contacted me and says, "Hey, can we use that video?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. I don't care." Lout, got a go team. Alarms went off in the hangar. Last time Raccoon got into lunchroom and took roast beef sandwiches into Jim's Robinson R44, dug a hole in the seat. Okay. Well, I probably have never seen that grouping of words all together at all. I will say that's the first time I know that I have ever said that, and maybe that's the first time it's ever been written. That's a first. That's pretty rare. Um, Last time Raccoon got into lunchroom and took roast beef sandwich into Jim's Robinson R44, dug hole in seat. Yeah, that's one of those things that you just. Yep, that's only been said once. Tim Miller, Tim Miller. Sorry, I have said I got a 70 Mach 1 all new sheet metal and conversion to OEM disc brakes, and it's one side done today, waiting for spraying color Acapulco blue. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we got to get the temperatures up. Michael Pagliarini says Rhode Island. Okay. Oh, sorry, instead of New York. Yeah. That's close, right? No, don't go there. Don't want to mix up the two. Two different places, right? Yeah. Thank you. Tim Miller, can't can't people I guess go slower and crash here in Kansas City area? Okay. Dumarine winter studded tires is a norm in rural New England. Yeah, I'm sure. But they've had some unseasonably warm winters, from what I understand as well. I have a friend up there, uh, RC Guy Garage. I don't know if you've ever seen him, Tim. He's got he does videos really about RC vehicles up all the time, but he used to do. I don't know if he still does or not. He's had a plow, and he would take out his big truck and plow the roads and stuff, and had some videos on that. But here the past few years, he hasn't even put the plow on the truck because they haven't had any snow. Robert, same here. Our snow turns to an ice rink the next morning. Fortunately, I've stopped putting sand on the roads and only brine them now. The sand made the roads dangerous for a week or more after. Yeah. Yeah, sand is not a good answer for that. David, the bowler hat guy, LOL, trash pandas get into everything. Yeah, they sure do. Tim Miller, the new hood got nice, and to cut Mach 1 twist locks, all so got a shaker hole will do in weeks. Okay. Simone says, Barry, potential good news. I found a friend has a car repair business, currently moving, but may be looking for a welder, so a possible job. Well, that's awesome. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. That would be great. That would be great. Marine says, Lot Burns, I have a family of raccoons around my property, but no hanger. Yeah. That's one thing I will say. I can't say we've had a problem with any kind of raccoon. I do get, I don't know, distressed, I guess, whenever I see a raccoon hit on the road, or even a possum anymore. I don't want to see those animals get hit. especially a deer or something like that. Squirrels, that's a different story. They're kind of psycho. You know, they kind of bounce around all over the place. It's like they're testing you. Are you going to really hit me? You know, but stuff like a raccoon or a possum, it's just unfortunate, especially when you think about, like, a lot of people don't like an opossum, right? They want to make a big deal. It's a scary, ugly creature. Blah blah blah. Those things are beneficial to us by so many things, and people just take it for granted. They, you know, they're not aggressive animals, and they're not out to hurt anybody or anything like that. So I just always feel bad when I see one that's been hit or, you know, killed on the road. But anyway, so there was something else I was going to bring up, and I'm trying to remember what it was, because I think I talked about the goggles last week. I'm pretty sure I did. Where did I put those things? I had bought the. Yes, I did talk. I know I talked about these last week, and I made the video on these things. Somebody else had mentioned to me that when they were looking these up, I had posted links on the last video, and I don't remember what I paid for these. I don't know, but they had commented that they got them at a better price. So if you're still looking at getting some of these, you may want to check that link again that I posted in the previous video and follow up with it and see if they give you a better price, because I'm very happy to have these when I'm doing that plasma cutting. Oh, that's the other thing. As we all know, we all collect our little toy cars, right? And I had these were sent to me, wink wink, these were sent to me by a follower. How about that? I'll just say that. Check this out. So we've got this Hull and Moody competition proven little setup there. This is by M2 Machines. This is pretty cool. So it's got like about a 68 Ford truck based on the front end of it, somewhere around there. And of course looks like a 65 or 6, I'm not sure which, little Mustang fastback. Really, really nicely detailed. And also the second one here, and this is a 427, just says Ford. Doesn't have any particular name on it, but it's got the old cab over truck, and again the little fastback on here. So these things are really cool. I know I talked about it a little bit last week as well, that I'd found this Boss 302 car and at Walmart, and I know I let everybody know that I made a mistake, because I didn't realize the Boss 302 cars didn't have the little vents on the quarter panels. So that's just one of those things I learned as well. I don't know if I guess I'm in focus. Can't tell by shirt. Take the glasses off so I can see better, right? Okay. Let me get back up here. Marine, I feed the raccoons leftovers. They are funny. Yes, they are. Troy just said, I always have wildlife in my backyard: deer, turkeys, raccoons, opossums, and bobcats. Welcome to Georgia. Yeah. Well, we haven't had any bobcats or anything like that. Plenty of deer, occasional turkey, some foxes though. We will have foxes. Travis, model number on the mini split. That's a good question. I do have. Is this thing out of focus? I don't know if it's working right. I don't want to be out of focus. Okay. Robert has commented, and again, I posted a video on YouTube, so you can look it up as well. He says, if I remember, his mini split is the 18K. The units have changed a lot since then, as efficiency has gone up quite a bit since then. I need another 25K BTU for my shop so the window unit can go away. Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, it's on. I know that if you looked up mini split or Mr. Cool on my main YouTube channel, it should show you that that information. Simone says, "Oh, nice. I have little cars too." Yeah, well, I've got a whole bunch of them right here. I need a nice way to display this stuff because I'm not allowed to display them in the house. Anthony Carver, I have a pet opossum. I guess it won't run for me or anything. I can't get close and don't want to. Yeah. You know, the funny part is, I've seen, now, I don't know how real it is. Some people make these videos where they'll run up and just pick up an opossum, like from behind, and the thing just opens its mouth and freezes. Because, like, that's all it knows how to do. It doesn't know how to, like, attack or anything like that. Not that I'm going to do that, but that's why they say playing possum, where it just plays dead or it just opens up its mouth to, like, look as scary as it can. David, have you ever considered putting together a Mustang wagon? Yes, I have. I have on several occasions. I did have somebody asking me about maybe helping them build a Mustang wagon. However, I have looked at them and I have a vision. I have a vision for making one. And it would probably have to be one I would make from dynacorn parts. Like, I wouldn't want to take a regular Mustang and cut it up. But I'm gonna give you an idea here. If you ever looked at a Dodge Magnum, remember the Dodge Magnum station wagon? It was like a wagon looking, car they built, 2000s, I don't know, whatever year it was. The Dodge Magnum has, and I've seen them in the junkyard, and I've been so tempted to just say, cut me the roof off of this thing. And then I realized that I don't know when I'd ever get to this. But if you took you look at the window line of the Dodge Magnum wagon car, and you look at the roof line on a Fastback 69, they're almost the same. Like the way the shape of the window opening, the quarter window opening, if you look at that, they're almost the same. Because the earlier cars, 68s, they didn't have a quarter window. The 69 does. And whenever you have that shape, that Magnum roof line almost is the same. And I have considered taking that Magnum roof and using it as a guide to merge into a 69 Fastback. So, yes, that has crossed my mind. Let's see. Okay, so Robert's comment there. Do you share your mailing address on your main site? I do not put my main mailing address up anywhere. However, I do have a post office box. So if you're interested in, like I have people send me stuff sometimes. If you're interested, I do have a P.O. box. Now, I don't know what they allow as far. Normally, I may get a letter or something. Or why is this thing? It seems like it's just slightly out of focus. But I also get some packages, and I don't know what the limitations are from the post office. Like, they'll put a key in the box and say, "Go to this box," which I don't understand if they at some point say, "Hey, you're getting too many packages or something. You're going to have to upgrade to a bigger box or whatever." And I don't want to ever do that because it's not cheap just to have a P.O. box. But I do have a P.O. box. So if you were to look at that, it'd be Joe Daddy's Garage, P.O. Box 863, Fayetteville, Georgia, 30214. That's my P.O. box. So I don't know if you got all that, but if you didn't, that's what it is. P.O. Box 863, Fayetteville, Georgia, 30214. So, okay, Travis, okay. Yeah, I can talk about that mini split. Yep. Tim Miller, my cat seen squirrel and chased it across the yard up a small tree and stopped, and he tried to bite the cat in the face, and squirrel returned the chase back to me. It almost ran. It ran almost up to me, I laughed. Yeah. So the cat chased the squirrel, and then the squirrel chased the cat back. Okay. Mr. Mikey, my cars are hung up on the Christmas tree. That's a nice place to do that. Wade says, Infernal Craftsman, depending on size and shape of your shop, maybe check into the multi-head Mr. Cool. You get a little better distribution. Yeah, I would almost like to have the multi-function Mr. Cool, or the multi-head Mr. Cool. Because this garage is well insulated as far as most things go. Oh, that's the other thing I want to talk about. Travis turned me on to a insulation company for these roll-up doors. And so I ordered a kit. I'm going to try it. It's a thin insulation, but I'm going to see if it's going to work and put it on these doors, because while these blankets do their job, it's a pain to put these blankets up and take them down, you know, that sort of thing. So that kit is on its way, actually, Travis. So thank you for that. Dave Tyson says you don't have a spare. I'm not sure. Oh, spare, like another spare body or spare Mustang? Okay, I'm going to bring up this question that I was talking about earlier. Now that we have a good group of people here. And this question is going to deal with the Coyote engines, right? So, if you took, let's say you had a stock Coyote engine out of an F-150 truck, okay? And the base horsepower on that is somewhere around 385 horsepower. The question is, can it be turned up to get 450 horsepower without boost? So, can you take a stock Coyote engine with a base rating of 385 horsepower and get it up to 455 or 450 horsepower without any kind of boost? So if anybody has an answer to that question, whether you're just now listening or if you're listening later on and you have an answer to that question, by all means, leave a comment so that we can get that answer out. Somebody needs to know that, and I don't have that answer, so there we go. It's been posted. We'll see what happens. Simone says, Barry sent a photo of my Cortina and in search of Griffo collection. I'm not sure what that means, but yes, you do have quite the collection of, I guess, Cortinas. So let me see if I can get that up here. Let me see if I can add that. That's a nice group photo. And there we go. So there's Simone's Cortina collection. You know, and that's what's funny about that. I know you're over in the UK. We would probably never, ever see those kind of die-cast models here in the U.S. because nobody would know. Nobody would ever know anything about those cars. But that's pretty cool. And it's really cool they reproduce them over there. So, let me pull that down. Thank you, Simone. Tim Miller, there was wagon made 66 Mustang. There were some prototype type of Mustangs built. There was never a production model built by Ford. They had, I think some company had, just like the Mustero, there was a company that took the Mustang and turned it into a pickup truck, El Camino style. There was another company that took like the roof line from a Falcon or something, and they put it on a Mustang. But Ford never actually made one intentionally like that. They were like prototype type vehicles. But yeah, they are out there. There are pictures of them out there. So thank you, Tim. Jake Bowers, thanks for the insight. I have a 70 Mach 1. What is the difference between a folding rear seat and a back seat delete? I got my car as a project and not sure which it is. Okay, so my understanding is, first of all, I don't know what you want, what your goal is, whether you want to have the back seat fold down or when you say delete, do they delete the back seat or does it delete the fold down option? So the fold down option is just that. The seat, just the upper portion folds down onto and rests on the bottom. It also, I think there's some stops built in to where it acts as kind of like a platform, so it doesn't like bounce too much. Where if you wanted to put something back there, you could. And the back panel underneath the back window is open, which is open anyway, but it's an open space where you can slide stuff in there. So a standard car is going to have a regular back seat that's in a fixed position. So it's not gonna move. So you really, to understand whether you have a fold down back seat, you may want to go to get a Marty report. And these cars, I think they all came with the brackets already attached to the body. And then that way if they wanted to put the fold down rear seat, it could just be added in. So that's my understanding, is the brackets were already there on the floor, on the sides, whatever. And then, because everyone I've seen has had all that stuff in them. But as the car was being born and they were going through the checklist and they would say, oh, this gets a fold down, they would put a fold down rear seat in it and have to put in all of these extra parts and assemblies. And it would add a lot of weight, actually. That whole mechanism is pretty heavy. So that's how that became a process. So they were already designed to take the fold down rear seat, but that was an option that got added as it went down the assembly line, from my understanding. That's how it was built. Good question, by the way, Jake. Glad you're here. Robert saying to Wade, it could be a secondary unit in there. I've done it, HVAC and commercial, so I'm well versed with this, etc. Okay. And Wade says, I've got the Mr. Cool 27K multi-zone running 1 12K and 2 9K heads. There you go. Simone says, In Search of Griffo is a sports car. ISO Griffo. Okay. Oh, see, it was, like I said, we wouldn't even know what that means. I was almost thinking, like, is that the maker of the die-cast stuff? So that's different. Tim Miller says, Andy at Unity has SXT 5.0 truck on YouTube. Okay. Michael, yes, cams and injectors and intake with large throttle body. So talking about making it up to, bigger horsepower. Dawn says, my guess is yes. And a Coyote in a Mustang GT is 400 plus horsepower. Okay. Robert, I need to go to the toy store next time I'm overseas, usually in tool stores. Okay. Check out what's there. Rick Stevenson, I'm sure you can get that truck 5.0 up to at least close to 485 horsepower. It just won't be cheap. So that's the thing, is what do you want to put into it? What do you want to invest into it to get it there? Tim Miller says yes. Okay. Rick, you'd be better off starting with a Mustang 5.0. So you're saying get the Mustang 5.0 makes more horsepower than the truck version 5.0, from what I gather. Troy Justin, in order to get more power out of my Coyote, it would need a bigger throttle body, headers, an exhaust, and a tune. The trucks are built for torque and have different firing orders than the Mustangs. Well, there's some good information. Thank you, Troy. I'm sure that's going to help. Simone's talking to Robert about a toy store called Antics. They sell a huge amount of models, and Oxford Diecast store online, as well as Corgi Vanguard's models, but those can be expensive. Don Marie and I am in the planning stage for my 12-year-old as he grows older to restore a rust-free 65 Mustang Fastback, last restored in mid-80s, 289 4-speed, and a good driver. I'll teach him along the way. That sounds awesome. Do that. Mark, right? Thank Mark. The Vikings-Ram kickoff is in a few minutes. Have a great week, everyone. Oh, I may have to watch that game, so thank you for reminding me. Del Marine, your videos will be key for bodywork. Thank you. Lost 2-1. Hi, Barry. How long does it take to weld the top section of the rear quarter panel? The top section of the rear quarter panel. That's. I need more info. Are you referring to? Because if I'm thinking like the top section of a fastback, are you talking about that little piece that wide that gets welded? Or are you talking about like splitting the body line and welding the entire length of a quarter panel? Give me a little more information on that, and we'll see what I can come up with. Tim Miller, try a SIP 2 being alive. Okay. Oh, try a chip. Oh, you talking about for the Coyote? If you can put a chip in it? I don't know. I guess that's possible. Steve Reed, very hard to find the fold-down rear seat for the first generation Camaro. They made a fold-down rear seat for them? I've never seen that. I'll take your word for it, though. But I don't know. Okay, Tim was saying chip. Yep. Del Marine is bedtime for the kiddo. Take care all. Yep. Yep. I still can't figure out if this thing is in focus or out of focus, or if it's me. Because it looks like it's. Let me get up in my hat here. And as I back up, it looks like it's struggling with it. Dwight, did Ford make the fold-down rear seat an option in '69? I never saw a 65 to 68 fastback without one. Yes, it would have been an option in '69. Now, the other years, I don't know. I don't know how that was configured. If they all were built that way, I have no idea. But on the '69, like my Mach 1 that's up on the lift right now, it does not have a fold-down rear seat. It has a regular rear seat in it. Not that I'd ever sit in it or have anybody sit back there, but it has a regular rear seat in it. Lost to one whole quarter from B pillar to taillight panel. All right, so you're talking about a split quarter, like doing a skin maybe, or the full length. Okay. So the question, I understand what you're asking. And it's hard to give you a straight answer because whenever I do a job like that, I do it in little segments, right? So it's easy to get in a hurry and just say, I'm going to weld this thing up and be done with it. But normally what I do when I start is I will do a tack weld every, let's say, inch or something like that. Let it cool, and I come back and I do, in between those, I'll do another tack weld. Let that cool. I may grind it down. I may even do a little hammer and dolly work just to make sure everything's relaxed. So when you say, how long does that take? It's hard to give an easy answer because you can say that the time you actually spend on it might be an hour. If everything was done and there was no heat problems or anything like that. However, for me to do something like that, it's probably going to take 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. That's just my ballpark. Because what I'll do, I may even do some of that stuff and then go away and do something entirely different. And I may not even come back till that afternoon or something and do some more on it and then walk away. So it's really hard to give you an easy timeline answer to that. But at hands-on time, it's probably maybe an hour. So I think you get the idea. I can't give an easy, straight answer on that. But that's a good question. So Wade says he had a 68 that didn't have it. Talking about the fastback fold-down rear seat. Okay. Richard says the camera's going in and out of focus occasionally, Barry. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. I can see it, but I don't know if it's because there's not enough contrast or something behind me. I don't know. It doesn't affect what I'm saying, but it just kind of makes for the video to be a little weird. Michael, I know people may not like me for saying this. A LSX will make way more horsepower for less money than a Coyote. I can't argue that. Can't argue that. Steve Reed, yes, old friend of mine bought a 68 Camaro, new and still has it. Had a factory rear fold down rear seat. Yeah, I've never seen that. So I would say that's a pretty rare option. I'd like to see pictures of that, by the way. You know, if you ever get a chance. The Dutchman's Woodchuck, howdy from Kona, Hawaii. Well, welcome from Kona, Hawaii. That's pretty awesome. Tim Miller, 65 Barracuda had Love Pit and Ford did and Chevy didn't know. Very cool. My first car was 69 Barracuda plus a A-Code 6-bit Mustang, or missing the 69. Yeah, okay. Larry, do you keep the seam... Hold on. Do you keep the seam seen between the rocker and quarter panel or covered up? No. I always keep the seams. I never cover those up. I look at it like this. If I'm restoring or building a car, I try to match the way that it was made. I've seen people weld over seams and smooth their, put filler over them and different things like that. To me, it makes a car look fake in a sense. Like is it fiberglass? When people weld in the rear valance panel, I don't like it. I don't want to see that all rounded off. It may as well be a dune buggy, fiberglass dune buggy. So I like to see those lines. It helps it define the shape, and it helps define the realistic look of the car. So even at the quarter window or the deck filler panel, I want to see those lines. I looked at something. What was it? It was a car recently that I looked at, and I saw where somebody had welded down that channel, and they were grounded down, and I was like, that's not how it was made. So I'm not a fan of that. I keep all the seams. Good question, though. Thank you, Larry. Anthony, I have two options of 68 fastback. Some just don't have the final rounded part, and the ones without the rounded part come out of 69. Okay. Yeah, I probably can't help you with that. Simone says, good night, everyone. It's gone 1 a.m. here. Well, good night, Simone. Glad you were here. Terry Keithley, in welding the panel, which is better, MIG or TIG? Well, that's another tough question to answer. Ideally, TIG is probably better if you're good with a TIG. I have not done enough welding with a TIG to where I would be satisfied to say I'm going to just use the TIG and put it in. So by default, I'm a dinosaur with the MIG welder. But I'm also very, very good with a MIG welder. So I'm comfortable with it. But a TIG is probably overall going to be a better weld or a better setup, But again, experience is what comes into play when you get to that point. Tim Miller is wondering what the temperature is in the 51st state. Simone says she prefers MIG. Rick Stevens says fast ain't cheap, and cheap ain't fast. Yeah. Talking about doing the welding and stuff. Yep. Richard Barry, which spot weld cutter did you use to separate the sheet metal on Fangled? It's a panel buster. I think is the name of it. I've posted, I don't know if I posted links to it or not before. Hold on just a second. I have two of these. I have two of these things, and these things are beasts. This first one, these are made by Steck, by the way. STECK is the name on them. And this one is a straight one. And you can it has a cutting tip on it and a cutting edge, so you can bash it sideways to cut through. I probably have posted links, or I have these listed on my Amazon pages, but part number on this one is 20015 for the straight one. And then this one, which is great for just this purpose, where you can't get in, and drive down on the tall one, so you can use the angled one. And this part number is 20016. So this one gets bashed on back here to drive into spaces. It also has a cutting edge on both sides. Both of the flat sides here have cutting edges. So you can drive this sideways, but it's not going to do as good. This one's meant more for pounding on a back edge of it there. So that's what they are, made by Steck, and I think they're called panel busters or something like that. So good question. Tim Miller, and they looked and fit, was made nice car. Okay. Talking about the 69, I think. Anthony Carver says the seat. Okay, so he's saying the rounded part without the rounded part came out of 69. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the difference is between the seats between those 68 and 69, so I really can't just point it and say this is going to fit or not. Larry Jones, yeah, that's what was done on mine. Okay, that's what I'll do. Thanks. Okay. Robert says TIG would be the better process if you were a TIG guy. The good part of a TIG is that all the weld beads are softer than MIG and easier to grind. So that's a good point. Dave Tyson, TIG is easier to grind. It was nice to grind. There you go. Michael, I had a 67 RS Camaro that had a 60/40 rear fold-down rear seat and rear tire de-icer was a New England dealer installed option. I've seen pictures of that de-icer kit that they put in on the wheelhouse. Pretty cool, kind of neat, but those are some pretty rare options. Pretty rare options. Travis, they have them on Amazon. I bought mine there. Yeah. I think I've posted links in my description box on Amazon, but also I have on my Amazon page tools that I frequently use. So there's lots of stuff listed there. Tom Anziano, how about that? Good evening, Barry. Would it be necessary or wise to add additional bracing to a car to replace the firewall, toe boards, and rear inner fender aprons all at the same time? My car is a 69 Fastback. Okay, would it be necessary? Well, if you're doing the firewall and the toe boards and rear inner fender aprons all at the same time, so you're leaving in the frame rails apparently, which will be attached to the floor supports. A-pillars are staying in place, and are you taking you can do this with the cowl still in place? That would be a challenge. And the reason I bring this up is because whenever you are putting in the floor pan or putting in the firewall, technically the firewall goes underneath the floor pan. Along with that, it's not going to go in like that with the frame rails in place. Ask me how I know. So what you'll end up doing is putting the firewall, you'll have to put it on top of the floor pan. Not a big deal. Just seam seal it. Make sure it's all good to go. As far as extra bracing goes, again, I don't know if you're pulling out the cowl or not, but you should not need any extra bracing. Now, I'm assuming if you're at this point in the car, you probably have already pulled all the interior. I'm assuming that the engine is out of it. I'm assuming a lot of things. Normally what I would do in that situation, I wouldn't add any bracing because it's just going to get in your way, to be honest. If I had the car on the pinch welds, on jack stands, and holding up the car, then I would probably look at adding another jack stand just for convenience at the front. Underneath the core support, if I were able to jack up the put a jack it up and shim it, let's say, to where it's in a neutral position. You don't want to put a load on it. You would just get it up to where it's in a neutral spot, shim it, just to make yourself feel better, and then take everything else out. So I don't see any need to add extra bracing. If you've removed all the heavy stuff, you're gonna have the hood off of it. You're gonna have the fenders off of it, which means you have the bumpers off. You have all that stuff out of the way. So if there's nothing there, no extra weight, it's not going to really make much of a difference. I actually did a car. I'm trying to remember if no, that was a whole other situation. But I ended up, I did almost all that same. I didn't do the firewall, but I did a bunch of work to it with the engine still in it. I never took it off the jack. It was never on jack stands. It was sitting on the ground, and I and I replaced the toe kicks. It was on a 65, by the way. I replaced the toe kicks, and I rebuilt the bottom half of the firewall, or the cowl panel on both sides when they sell a patch panel. And I rebuilt all that stuff, and it still had the engine and transmission in it, and it didn't change a thing. So, I guess I missed Tall Red Easel. Smiling in Canada, trying negative 16 degrees Celsius. Thank you for that, Tall Red Easel. Appreciate you. I didn't see that come through. I must have skipped right past it or something. So glad you're here and you chimed in. Let me get back down here to the comments. Okay, so Richard says, thanks, Barry, great info. Anthony Carver, yes, I bought the body chisels, and they are great. Yes, they are definitely worth having. Wade Chandler, apparently the Camaro had the fold-down seat as option in 67, 69. There was no pass-through to trunk. Just folded down and made a shelf. Oh, okay. Interesting. Just a place to put boxes or something in the back seat if you wanted to. Robert, I'm thinking of a rear seat delete on a 66 coupe. Don't know what to put there. No one will ever sit back there. Maybe a pizza oven. Yeah, there you go. I have seen people just build a shelf, a flat area, and just make it part of the car and put carpet on it. Just like a package shelf type of thing, but you just build it and put it in. Take some square tubing, run it off to the sides, put some drops on, and just level it out. Put a piece of plywood in there, put some carpet over it, you're good to go. So I'm with you on that, because nobody sits in the back of these cars unless they're 5 years old. Dwight Douglas, have a good one, Barry. Got to sign off. Battery on iPhone or on phone is dying. Yes. Yeah, I'm probably at a point that I'm going to be signing off as well. I know my wife was making dinner when I come out here. She was still cooking it, and I'm hungry. So, I am working on other things. I'm going to try to see what I can get moving on the next video for this. And I don't want to rush things. I don't like to rush through anything. If I don't get more done with the floor pan and the sides and get everything started over here, I will post that other video that I've already created. It's up and it's already on YouTube, but I have not released it yet. So that'll be the other video if I can't get more done on the Mustang, but we'll find out. Dwight, or I'm sorry, I'm reading. Dwight has, have a good one. Got to sign off. Yeah. Don says, I beg to differ. Betsy has rear seat passengers regularly. I'm sure in my case, I don't see anybody riding in the back seat of any of my Mustangs that I have. I just seems unlikely in my case. Richard Vogel, fun show tonight. Thanks, Barry. Have a great night, everyone. Yes. Okay. So, I will be closing out tonight, and I want to let you know I'll be back next Monday night. It'll be the 20th at 7 o'clock. I know that I have an event coming up in February, which I will be missing a Monday night live stream. It's an event that I do every year. It's a kind of a fundraiser sort of thing. So I show up for that, help them out. But for now, we'll just keep doing this. And next Monday at 7 o'clock. So that'll be it. Glad you all were here. Keep watching the videos. Leave comments, thumbs up, all that sort of thing. It all helps. And I look forward to sharing more with you very soon. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.